Loneliness. I wish I had known something about that word back in the spring of 2020 when my counseling therapeutic practice kind of escalated with people responding to COVID-19. But it became very personal when in September of 2020, sitting in my office here, and all of a sudden I burst into tears. And I started to observe the tears, my nervous system, asked myself how I was feeling. Feeling words came up as sad, empty, lonely. Started to notice my body, started to notice my skin, largest organ in the body, and realized that I was feeling lonely. Lonely for my children's hugs, my grandchildren's hugs, my friends' hugs, the people that used to come and go from the house. Because of a husband who's immune compromised, we had a very tight bubble. So I began to snuggle more with my husband, ask our son, who was allowed in our bubble, to hug more. And when he'd go out the door, I would say, "Hey, I want another one." So this definition of loneliness is by a loneliness researcher, Cassiopo. And basically, loneliness is that discrepancy, that space between the relationships that you have and the relationships that you want. So I'm one of those people that had that moment of loneliness. But who are the lonelies? The researchers such as our Canadian Angus Reid Institute, who indicated in October of 2020 that actually the myth was that seniors were the loneliest demographic group. Turned out that actually youth are. When you consider the developmental stages of being a human being, once you become a youth, a young adult, you're ready to stay out of the house. You're ready to spread your wings. You're ready to spend less time at home with mom and dad, with siblings. So if you have youth in your circle, keep your eye on them. That doesn't necessarily mean that they are struggling with loneliness, but that is the highest demographic in Canada. How do we really tell who are the lonely if the demographics just keep your antennae, your framework open? It is unexplained emotions. It includes depression, anxiety, lower amounts of sleep or higher amounts of sleep, more drinking alcohol, more food. You know what? That emptiness of loneliness we're seeking to fill up. The previous Surgeon General of the United States, Vivek Murthy, recently released a book called Together. And he concluded there's 3 kinds of connections, relationships that we need for us to stay socially healthy. And the first is confidant. Who in your circle is got that capacity, just accepting all feelings unapologetically and not hearing that, oh, there's no reason to be angry. There's no reason to be afraid. This is just a bunch of hoax. No, somebody that we feel held by, heard by, acknowledged by. And it's best to have 1, 2, or 3. The second aspect of having connection and social health that Murthy talks about is a sense of belonging to a close-knit group, often family. I have 2 women in my life. One is from Ethiopia, that's Gannett, and a dear friend, Jeanette, who call me their substitute mother. Actually, Gannett calls me her Canadian mama, and Jeanette her substitute mother. And so if you don't have a family that's either available or maybe toxic or deceased, whatever the situation is, know that there are people that are open to being your auntie, being your uncle, being your grandpa. You want to have a group that you feel, I belong here. And the third area is a sense of community that shares similar values, and a community helps you be on purpose to make your contribution of your gift. And you might want to make your social collage. to take some photographs, or maybe even do it by some sketching, or maybe you just write some names of the people that you have, that your confidants, where you belong, and where you have a sense of community. And I want to, before I finish, talk about the importance of oxytocin. Well, oxytocin is that hormone that we get from getting our touching needs met. It is so important. It helps regulate emotions, it helps with empathy, it helps with trust. It's called the love hormone, for goodness sakes, when you get really intense with the touching. So an oxytocin has this sense of being alive at the same time as calming our nervous system. I'm going to tell you what to say if you suspect that you have a loved one, somebody you care about that's feeling lonely. You go gently, cautiously, and say, "Might you be lonely?"